Can we dim the lights just a little in the front? Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Diana Vanya and myself, we thank you all for sitting on what is probably the last session for this Congress before the closing ceremony. We are talking about something that you guys have heard of back and forth over the last 3 days, and it's an initiative that's called the Zoroastrian Return to Roots. As the name suggests, it clearly is talking about taking young Zoroastrian youth from not only North America, but Europe, Australasia, Pakistan, Middle East, back home to their roots or their parents' roots in India and eventually in Iran too. The synthesis for this idea actually came about at the last North American Congress, where Dinsha Mistry and Roshin Kabraji spoke about it during a Parzor presentation, and they influenced enough youth so that 14 youth from North America went on the first program. The Return to Roots program was born of an idea that Dinsha, who should be in the crowd, and if he can please stand up, he's here. Dinsha, Roshin, Kayan, and Shireen Hawewala, spread over 3 different continents, came up with this idea of, why don't we take our fellow young people like them back and show them where their roots are from. The initiative was put together under the patronage of Parzor, which is a UNESCO organization based out of New Delhi, and the Return to Roots program is chaired by Dr. Shanaz Kama and by Aban Markar Kabraji, and Shireen, Roshin, Dinsha, and Kayan remain the core committee members. I help with liaison within North America, and Diana was one of the fellows who actually attended the very first program. A little bit about us. The program tries to connect Zarathushtis youth with the Indian or Iranian origins. It provides a platform for them where they, as mature adults, can go back without the baggage of traveling with their parents and their parents' ideas of what India or Iran was, to go and see the country that the parents came back from for themselves, and look at it without any other filters that come with traveling as a tourist with a larger family. The vision is to really create a viable global Zoroastrian community with so many youth in the diaspora, but if the youth know where they come from, then they know where they're going. Returning, so the idea was like you see in the photograph over here, connecting Zoroastrian youth back to their roots, whether it's visiting fire temples, visiting houses of business, reconnecting with their Zoroastrian identity. What does it really mean? When you see growing up in the diaspora in North America or in Europe, one does not get to experience as many iconic Zoroastrian identity issues as one would when you go back to India. So this is it's a short program that allows you to kind of do that. And in doing that, we are hoping that it revives the Zoroastrian community back in North America, when people go back to their homes, to their local communities, and spark an interest, and they kind of become brand ambassadors. The program really is intended to be like an executive MBA in Zoroastrian culture. 12 days, you come out with an executive MBA in being a Zoroastrian. Cool. So Diana Vanya was one of the 16 fellows that completed the first program. She hails from Toronto, Ontario, and she's going to run through about some of the stuff that she saw on the program.
So as Arzan mentioned, I'm from Toronto. I was born and raised in Toronto. I've been to India with my family, but I've never really experienced Zoroastrian religion, culture, and history as much as I have on this trip last December. So I'm just going to take you through some of our experiences and kind of what you would experience if you were to go on the next trip. So last December, fellows traveled along the paths of their Parsi ancestors from Nargol to Sanjan, Udwada, Surat, Navsari, and Mumbai. During the 2-week tour, we visited Agyaris, Atashberams, and prominent Parsi establishments such as the Taj Hotel, the World Zoroastrian Organization, Parsi General Hospital, Dungarwadi, and the Merji Rana Library. We delved into the history of our religion, from seeing the Cyrus Cylinder to visiting the shores of Nargol, where Zoroastrians landed in India. We visited the Sanjan Stum, commemorating the arrival of Zoroastrians, and we prayed in the sacred Udwada Uransha Atashberam. We also learned from prominent Zoroastrian archaeologists and scholars who helped us return to the very roots of our religion. We reconnected with our culture and traditions. Fellows were given a tour of and impromptu baking lessons in Dotiwala Bakery in Surat. We indulged in delicious Britannia food and enjoyed typical Parsi dansak at the Ripon Club. Of course, what is true Parsi culture without experiencing all of our wonderful food? Feeling real Parsi hospitality, we were invited into the home of successful entrepreneur Jimmy Mistry, and we were taken on a tour of Munchie Farms, a 300-year-old farm that has been in the Zoroastrian family for 10 generations. As we constantly hear about our dwindling population, it is important that we support the youth in reviving our religion and understanding the different aspects of our community. This program allowed Zoroastrian youth to understand the history of our sacred texts, learn the art of kasti weaving, and interact with Zoroastrian children in an orphanage. Most importantly, this trip helped foster friendship between Zoroastrian youth. And I'd like to share a little anecdote. On our very first day of the tour, we were visiting our very first Agyari in Bombay, and 2 of the fellows from Canada were entering the Agyari and lighting a Devo. And I saw one of them kind of gently instructing the other on how to light the Devo, what to do, and it was very touching to see not only older people teaching the youngsters, but youth teaching themselves and really reviving our community with and for each other. So the trip was very beneficial for participants, and some of us are in the crowd right now, and we still have fond memories of this time last year when we were on the trip. We gained firsthand knowledge of our religion and culture, and participants now feel that they belong to something important, that they understand the reasons behind our religious practices. So as one youth from London said, he believes that the most important aspect gained from the Roots trip was a sense of identity and enjoyment in being a young Zoroastrian. Another participant's favorite part of the trip was that for once, Zoroastrianism was the focus of our lives and experiences, and we really immersed ourselves in the Zoroastrian culture and history, especially for those 2 weeks, but now it's on our minds more. For many of us, it was amazing to see the large impact Zoroastrians have had on India, and that was my favorite part of the trip as well. Throughout the centuries, our community has persevered to be hardworking and philanthropic, and that really shone through in the places we went, the different businesses we visited. In addition, participants got to know other fun, hardworking, successful Zoroastrian youth from around the world. So as Arzan said, it's not only youth from North America, there were youth from UK, from Pakistan, and we're hoping to get other youth from different parts of the world as well to participate. As Bezan, who I think is in the audience today, said, Zoroastrians can't let ourselves be so distant from one another. Together, with all of our resources, we can build a much stronger community. And I think that's what the 16 of us are starting to do. And it really feels like we're a family. We spent so much time together. And it would be great for so many youth to experience that as well. Throughout the Congress, we've repeatedly been hearing that we need to strengthen our connection to the community, and perhaps more importantly, we need to get youth involved in the local Zoroastrian associations. The Roots program truly does both of these things. As you've just seen from the fellow quotes, we feel more connected to our community, and in addition, fellows are becoming more involved in their local Zoroastrian associations when they come back. Jangir Madan was one of the fellows, and he's very involved in Zagni. He performs jashans and religious ceremonies. Sasan Jahanian from California is in charge of the social media aspect of promoting Roots. I have become the editor of the Zoroastrian Society of Ontario newsletter, and I think it's because of the Roots trip that we really want to become involved in the Zoroastrian community. So I'll pass it back to Arzan now, and he'll wrap it up.
So our hope is that some of these photographs enticed you, got you hungry, and gets a longing for you to go back to these. The first Return to Roots track happened last year in and around the 10th World Zoroastrian Congress. And I have to tell you a very, very funny anecdote. The Return to Roots had a session over there similar to what we're having one here. And after the session was over, I went back and I was sitting at my seat, and two chairs over, there were two old Parsi ladies, both local from Bombay. And they were having a conversation within themselves, and one tells the other, and I'll say it in Gujarati, "E pala apra bada America thi chokrao joy ke juaniao aaya chte karine dori રહ્યા છે." And which basically translates that there are all these our American Parsi youth who've come from America and are all running around, and it's so nice to see them. And I thought that was really, really nice that people were observing the fact that there were a bunch of young kids who were really interested in knowing what they were doing, and therefore they were there at the Congress and for the longer trip itself. Coming to the next trip, it's planned for March 10th to 22nd, 2015. This is the track B of our tour. This tour will start in New Delhi and then take you, not necessarily in this order, but through Mumbai, Pune, Sanjan, Navsari, and Surat, showing you not only aspects of religion, but more importantly, aspects of Zoroastrian way of life, whether it's business, it's culture, it's society, it's food, clothing, name it, and you will get an experience of that. We've tried keeping in mind that the target audience is youth between the age of 20 and 35, so they're all either college going or working. We've tried to condense it and keep it as tight as possible without just becoming a crazy fast-paced tour. It starts on the 10th of March. We would have ideally liked to do it this time of the year, but with the North American Congress being happening when it is, we thought it would be prudent to move it to spring break, basically spring break in North America. To participate, you need to be between the age of 20 and 35. You need to have one parent be a Zarathushtis, and you need to have your Navjot or your Sadre Pushi done. So yes, it does. It does take a bag to raise a child. Replace the word bag with your local association, community, what have you. And so this is not only to prospective applicants who we are targeting to. It's to the parents and the grandparents in the room. It's to the aunts and the uncles. If you have nieces and nephews, sons and daughters who you think would be eligible on this trip, but for whatever reason are not here in this room, please spread the word. Please get them to sign up. We are also talking to, we are also looking for people who can help sponsor the program. The entire cost of the program the applicants pay only a part of the actual cost of the program. The other cost comes through sponsoring organizations, including Fezana, including other local organizations like Zagni and ZSO, and Bombay Parsi Panchayat from India. We are looking for people who just like the program, would like to donate towards it, in the hope that at some point we would have a large enough endowment, and then we don't necessarily have to worry about donations on a trip-to-trip basis. We have a lot of partner business organizations. Bami Patel, ex-Fazana president, who runs a travel agency, arranges for all travel arrangements for every applicant from all over the world at no cost. We promote and work with local Zarathushtis businesses in India, whether it's a travel agency, it's hotels, it's restaurants, it's bakeries, and pump money back into the local community over there, and with the hope that people, the guys who are attending, understand the spirit of entrepreneurship and then maybe look at it as an avenue of what they do when they come back. And obviously, we're looking for volunteers. If you have ideas, if you have thoughts, please come and talk to us. Dinsha is here. There are other Roots Fellows in the room. Farzi Nawari is here from Atlanta, who also runs the prayer classes at the Atlanta Association. Anayata Sidwa is here too. Applications are open. We have a short deadline coming up. The deadline is by 15th of January. Even if you cannot meet the deadline by then, but you're interested, just drop us an email. The website is zororoots.org/apply. We really hope that we would see more and more youths participate in this. And the next trip is only 100 days away. Start packing your bags and get your visas in order. So can we have a couple of questions? Our target group is about 15 to 16 kids because anything above that becomes very unwieldy. In many, like in Nargol and Sanjan, for example, we have to take really small buses because the lanes are very narrow. So there is a logistical issue, and I think if the group becomes too big, it's just not. So the chaperones, we actually, so last time the whole core team was there. So Dinsha, Shireen, Kayan, and Roshin were there. Aban was there right through the trip. I was there right through the trip. And we had experts like Khojeste Mistry and Rukshana Nanji, who basically was one of the first archaeologists who did the Sanjan dig, talked to us about different aspects of history of Bombay, architecture of Bombay. We got to go to the boardroom of the Tata and Sons, see back-end information about the Taj Hotel, and various other things. It's kind of, if you look at the report that we've had on our website, you'll get a real big flavor of what was happening. Sure. We'll make it fast because I know Kushru is going to shoot me otherwise. Very valid question. Track A was, track B is for parents, for kids whose parents are, one parent is Zarathushti. We have to respect the rules of the organizations and the institutions that we visit. We are not taking political sides, and we do not want to cause conflict. Since Udwara has a certain standard of who they allow inside a fire temple, we will respect that. And therefore, Udwara is left out on that trip. So, but Navsari, we are primarily going to Navsari for the Mirji Rana Library. And the wonderful work that the Mirji Rana Library does over there, and also to visit maybe the Tata School and Jamshedji Jibai's house, Jamshedji Tata's house. We will make an exception for, ask the 19-year-old to apply. Yeah, we would, ask them to apply. The age is kind of, set the way it is. We want kids to be a little more mature when they go in, but it's no hard and fast rule. Another thing is that, last time what we saw was that a lot of friends from the community got together. So there were, three people from Toronto. There were Kurush and Bezan who've gone to, and they're somewhere in the crowd here. And they've gone to all these events together, but one lives in Canada, one lives in Los Angeles. They got to go and, they decided to go together. So if there are youth out there, and if you're from your local association, get 2 or 3 people together and apply, because then you'll obviously meet 15, 20 other people over there, but you'll also have, friends who you've grown up with. That's it. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinah. Thank you, Arzan. It's a great cause. It's